My child, you passed the final test. I need you to hear this before tomorrow, because what I am about to reveal changes everything between us. Do not rush past these words. Do not treat this like something you can come back to later. You have just walked through something that reshaped you, even if you cannot yet explain it. You think you simply survived another hard season, another stretch of waiting, another quiet struggle that no one noticed. But what you came through was not ordinary. It was a threshold. And before you step into what comes next, you need to understand what just happened. This cannot wait any longer. You do not yet understand what you just came through, and I will not let you step into tomorrow without knowing the truth. Tomorrow carries new weight, new responsibility, new closeness between us. And if you enter it without clarity, you will question yourself again. You will wonder if you are ready. You will doubt what I am doing. I do not want that for you. I want you to move forward anchored, not guessing. So listen now with your whole heart, not with fear, not with skepticism, but with the quiet courage that has been growing inside you. Stay with me now. What I am about to say will reshape how you see your past, your faith, and your future. You have been looking back at your life and calling it struggle, delay, confusion. You have been calling it loss, calling it endurance, calling it survival. But you have not yet called it what it truly was. It was a test. Not a test designed to make you fail. Not a test meant to exhaust you, but a test that revealed who you are when no one is watching, when nothing is guaranteed, when answers are slow and feelings are thin. You passed the final test, not because you never doubted, not because you were always strong, not because you got everything right. You passed because you stayed. You stayed when walking away would have been easier. You stayed when hope felt fragile. You stayed when prayer felt quiet and effort felt heavy. You stayed honest. You stayed open. You stayed human. And that mattered more than you know. I watched you in moments when you felt unseen. I watched you when you questioned whether your effort mattered. I watched you choose integrity when shortcuts would have gone unnoticed. I watched you wrestle internally and still show up outwardly. I watched you resist bitterness when disappointment tried to take root. Those moments were not small. They were the measure, and you passed. You think the test was about endurance alone, but it was also about trust. Could you trust me without reassurance? Could you trust me without progress you could point to? Could you trust me without applause, without clarity, without immediate reward? You did not always feel confident, but you remained willing, and willingness is the doorway to growth. This cannot wait because what changes between us now is not distance but closeness, not pressure but trust. Passing this test means I can speak to you differently. It means I can lead you more directly. It means I can entrust you with clarity that would have overwhelmed you before. You are not the same person you were when this season began. You are steadier. You are quieter inside. You are less driven by fear and more guided by awareness. That change did not happen overnight. It happened through every hard day you did not quit. You are standing on the edge of tomorrow thinking it will be like yesterday, but it will not. Tomorrow is not just another day. It is a continuation with new depth. And depth requires understanding. That is why I am speaking now, not later. If you wait, you will move forward without realizing how much you have grown, and you will underestimate yourself again. I do not want you to carry that old doubt into a new season. Stay with me. Let these words settle. You have spent so long bracing yourself, preparing for disappointment, guarding your expectations. You learned to protect yourself because hope once hurt. But protection has done its job. It got you through the test. Now it is time to loosen your grip, just enough to receive what comes next. Right, yes, Lord. Take all of me if you are ready to let go and trust Him. You passed the final test because when everything felt uncertain, You chose not to become someone you would not recognize. You did not harden. You did not lose compassion. You did not abandon truth to feel safe. You adapted without losing your core. That is rare. That is readiness. This cannot wait because understanding must come before movement. If you move forward without knowing what you just came through, you will mislabel the next season as pressure instead of permission. You will think you need to strive again, prove again, endure again. But something has shifted, and I need you to know that before you take another step, stay with me now. I know part of you is tired of messages that promise change. I know part of you is cautious, telling you not to believe too quickly. That caution once protected you, but right now it is trying to keep you from seeing the truth. The truth is not dramatic. It is steady. It is calm. It says you are ready. What I am about to reveal changes everything between us because trust has been built. Not the loud kind of trust that boasts, but the quiet kind that stays. I can rely on you in ways I could not before, not because you are perfect, but because you are honest. Not because you are fearless, but because you are faithful in small, unseen ways. You have been waiting for a sign that things are different now. This is that sign. Not fireworks, not noise, understanding. Understanding that what you thought was just survival was actually formation. What you thought was delay was actually preparation. What you thought was weakness was actually strength being refined. Do not rush past this moment. You are about to step into tomorrow with new eyes. If you let this truth settle, you will walk lighter. You will question less. You will trust yourself more because you will finally see that you did not just endure. You grew. Stay with me. You passed the final test. And what comes next is not something you have to earn. It is something you are ready to receive. You passed the final test and you did not even know it. I watched you walk through it quietly, without announcement, without recognition, without the kind of clarity that tells you this matters. It did not arrive with noise or ceremony. It did not look like victory. It looked like endurance. It looked like staying when leaving would have been easier. It looked like choosing honesty when pretending would have protected you. It looked like waking up tired and still showing up with whatever strength you had left. That was the test, and you passed it. You thought tests come with clear instructions and obvious outcomes. You expected something dramatic, something that would let you know you were being evaluated. But the most defining tests are the ones that blend into daily life, the ones that ask who you will be when nothing is promised and no one is watching. This test measured your heart, not your performance. It measured your trust, not your results. It measured your willingness to stay present when answers were slow and feelings were thin. I saw you endure when you did not feel strong. I saw you trust when you did not feel sure. I saw you remain humble when frustration tempted you to harden. You questioned yourself. You doubted your progress. You wondered if anything you were doing mattered. But even in that uncertainty, you stayed honest. You did not pretend to be something you were not. You did not abandon your values to feel safe. You did not trade truth for comfort. Those choices were the passing marks. You did not pass because you were perfect. You passed because you were faithful in small, unseen ways. You passed because you kept your heart open when disappointment tried to close it. You passed because you did not let cynicism become your shield. You passed because you kept listening, even when my voice felt quiet, even when prayer felt like effort instead of connection. Presence was your obedience, and presence mattered. Please support our channel. Our work is dedicated to bringing happiness into your life and strengthening devotion to God. If you would like to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. There were days when you felt like nothing was happening, when progress felt invisible and hope felt fragile. You assumed you were standing still, But standing still in faith is not stagnation. It is endurance. It is the courage to remain where you are until clarity arrives. You did not run ahead. You did not force answers. You stayed, and that staying formed strength you could not have gained any other way. You think the test was about how much you could handle. It was also about how gently you could carry yourself while handling it. Would you become harsh with yourself? Would you let shame define you? Would you turn your questions into accusations? You learn to be patient with yourself. You learn to name your limits without giving up. You learn to rest without quitting. Those lessons did not feel like victory, but they were. I watched you obey quietly, not with grand gestures, but with consistent choices. You chose integrity when no one would have noticed if you compromised. You chose kindness when bitterness would have felt justified. You chose restraint when reaction would have given you relief. These were not loud decisions. They were internal, they were private, and they revealed your readiness more clearly than any public achievement ever could. There were moments when you thought you were failing, because the struggle did not end quickly. But the length of a test does not determine failure. Sometimes length is what reveals endurance. You are being shown who you are when the finish line is not visible. You are learning how to live without constant reassurance. That is not easy. It requires trust that does not depend on feeling good or seeing results. You did not know this was the final test, because final tests rarely announce themselves. They come after many others, quietly measuring what has been learned along the way. This one asked if you would keep walking even when the path felt ordinary again, even when excitement faded, even when nothing felt new. You did. A consistency is strength. I saw your unseen courage. I saw you resist the urge to numb yourself. I saw you sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. I saw you choose reflection over distraction. Those choices refined you. They made you steadier, calmer, more aware. You are not the same person you were when this season began. You may not feel triumphant, but you are grounded. That is victory. You may wonder why I did not tell you sooner, why I did not mark the moment with clarity. It is because recognition was not the reward. Formation was. You were being shaped, not applauded. If you had known it was a test, you might have performed. Instead, you lived honestly. That honesty is what qualified you. You passed because you did not abandon your values when they became inconvenient. You passed because you kept choosing truth over comfort. You passed because you remained teachable, even when you were tired of learning the same lesson. You passed because you stayed connected to me, not perfectly, but persistently. There were days you felt unseen, when you questioned whether anyone noticed your effort. I noticed. I counted every quiet victory, every moment you chose not to give up. Every time you told yourself to try again tomorrow. Those moments were not small, they were the measure. This test did not ask you to prove your worth, it revealed it. It showed that your faith is not dependent on conditions. It showed that your character is not performative. It showed that you can be trusted with deeper understanding because you did not demand it prematurely. You waited, you endured, you stayed open. You may still feel tired. Passing a test does not always bring immediate relief. Sometimes it brings awareness. Awareness of how much you have carried. Awareness of how strong you have become quietly. Awareness that something has shifted even if nothing looks different yet. That awareness is the beginning of rest. I want you to release the belief that victory must look dramatic. Quiet victories change lives. Unseen strength lasts. You are standing here now because you passed something that would have broken you before. Not because you are invincible, but because you grew. Comment, you are worthy of my every breath. Father, if your soul rises in praise, you did not even know it was happening. But you were becoming someone who can be trusted with what comes next. You were learning how to walk without constant confirmation. You were learning how to listen without panic. You were learning how to remain present when outcomes were unclear. Those skills matter. I am telling you now because recognition belongs after formation, not before. You passed the final test, and what that means is not pressure, not expectation, not endless responsibility. It means readiness. It means trust has been built. It means the way forward will feel different, steadier, lighter, because you are no longer carrying the same uncertainty you once did. You did not just survive, you learned. You did not just endure, you matured. You did not just wait, you became, and I saw every step of it. You passed the final test, and now, with the truth settled in you, you can move forward knowing that your quiet strength was never unnoticed, and your victory was never in doubt. I needed you to walk through that season alone, not because I wanted you isolated, not because I turned away, and never because you were unworthy of support. I need you to hear this clearly, because loneliness has a way of eroding memories and turning refinement into rejection. What you experienced was not abandonment. It was preparation. It was a sacred narrowing of voices so you could finally hear mine without interference. There were people you expected to stand beside you who drifted away. There were relationships that changed without explanation. There were moments you reached out and felt unheard, unseen, unsupported. You questioned yourself during those moments. You wondered what you did wrong. You wondered if you were too much or not enough. But what felt like loss was actually space being made. Space is uncomfortable when you do not know why it exists. But space is necessary when something new is forming. I needed you alone because you were learning to lean on approval that could not disappear. For a long time, you drew strength from being understood, from being affirmed, from being surrounded. None of those things are wrong, but they are fragile foundations. They shift with moods, seasons, and circumstances. I wanted to build something steadier in you, something that would not collapse the next time people misunderstood you or failed to show up the way you hoped. When voices around you grew quiet, it forced you to listen inward. When encouragement faded, it revealed what was truly sustaining you. When you felt misunderstood, it exposed how much you relied on being explained correctly to feel safe. That exposure was not meant to shame you. It was meant to free you. You were being invited to rest your sense of worth somewhere deeper than human response. I know how heavy it felt. I know there were nights when the silence felt louder than noise. I know you replayed conversations, wondering if you should have said something differently, wondering if clarity would have kept people close. But clarity was never the issue. Timing was, alignment was. Some people could only walk with you up to a certain point. Beyond that, their presence would have required you to shrink, to explain yourself endlessly, or to delay growth to keep connection comfortable. I needed you alone because you were learning discernment. Discernment grows best in quiet. It sharpens when there is less external influence pulling at your attention. When you are surrounded, it is easy to confuse consensus with truth. When you are alone, truth becomes clearer because it is no longer competing with noise. You began to notice what felt right instead of what was popular. You began to trust what settled your spirit instead of what pleased others. There were times you felt invisible, like your absence did not matter to anyone. The pain cut deeply. But invisibility to people is not invisibility to me. In fact, some of the most important shaping happens when there is no audience. When no one is watching, you discover who you are without performance. You learn how to choose integrity without applause. You learn how to keep going without validation. That kind of strength cannot be taught any other way. I needed you alone because you were still confusing connection with dependence. Dependence feels like closeness, but it quietly erodes trust in yourself and in me. You were learning how to stand without leaning too heavily on others to hold you upright, not because you should never need support, but because support should add to your strength, not replace it. You felt misunderstood because you were changing. Growth often creates distance before it creates alignment. The language you were learning no longer matched the conversations around you. The questions you were asking did not fit familiar answers. That mismatch felt lonely, but it was also a sign that you were moving forward. Staying surrounded would have required you to stop growing. I would not ask that of you. I know there were moments you prayed for relief from the loneliness. I heard those prayers, and sometimes the answer was not removal of the loneliness, but meaning within it. Loneliness can feel empty, but it can also be clarifying. It reveals what you cling to. It shows you what you fear losing. It teaches you what truly sustained you when everything else is stripped away. I was with you in that season more closely than you realized. I did not fill the silence with noise, because noise would have distracted you from what was forming. I stayed steady while you learned how to sit with yourself without judgment. I watched you grow more honest, more reflective, more compassionate. Those qualities were being formed in the quiet. You learned how to pray without performance, how to speak honestly instead of impressively, how to admit when you were tired instead of pretending you were fine. Those prayers reached me deeply because they were real. You were no longer praying to be seen. You were praying to be held. That shift mattered. I needed you to replace reliance on external validation with internal assurance. External validation is temporary. It rises and falls. Internal assurance, rooted in my presence, remains steady. When you learned how to sit with me without needing others to confirm your worth, something in you settled. You became less reactive, less desperate for explanation, more grounded. This season also taught you empathy. You now recognize loneliness in others without them saying a word. You understand silence without judging it. You listen differently because you know what it feels like to not be understood. That empathy will matter more than you know. It will guide how you love, how you lead, how you respond. I did not remove everyone from your life. I refined your circle. I allowed distance where closeness would have hindered growth, and I preserved connection where it could grow with you instead of holding you back. Refinement is not rejection. It is precision. You are not meant to stay alone forever. This was a season, not a sentence, but seasons have purpose. And the purpose of this one was to strengthen your foundation, to teach you how to stand when support is thin, to show you that you are not abandoned when you are alone. You are being prepared. Now you know how to sit in silence without running from it. You know how to listen without panicking. You know how to trust without constant reassurance. Those are not small things. They are the marks of maturity, and they were formed when no one else could interfere with the work being done. I needed you to walk through that season alone so that when you walk with others again, you do so freely, not fearfully. You will no longer cling to be understood at the cost of your truth. You will no longer settle for connection that requires you to diminish yourself. You will choose relationships that meet you in honesty, not in performance. You were not abandoned. You were refined. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared. You were not unsupported. You were being strengthened from the inside out. And now, because you walk through that season, you are steadier. You are clear. You are less dependent on approval and more anchored in truth. That is why what comes next will feel different. You will not need to grasp. You will not need to prove. You will walk with quiet confidence, knowing that you can stand whether others walk beside you or not. I was with you every step, even when it felt like no one else was. And the strength you carry now is proof that the loneliness was never empty. It was sacred. While you were struggling, I was watching for things you never thought were being measured. I was not watching for perfection. I was not counting how many times you felt strong, or how often you got everything right. I was watching your heart. I was watching how you carried yourself when no one reassured you, how you responded when pressure built quietly, how you treated yourself when answers did not come. You thought the struggle meant something was wrong, but the struggle was the setting where your readiness was being revealed. I watched your posture more than your progress. When things did not move the way you hoped, did your heart harden or soften? When disappointment came, did you turn inward with honesty or outward with blame? When silence stretched longer than comfort allowed, did you run from it or sit with it? These are not small details, they were the heart of the test. Readiness is not proven by speed, it is proven by posture. I watched what you did in private, not what you showed in public, when no one was watching, when there was no reward for staying faithful. How did you live? Did you stay true to who you are, or did you begin to cut corners to ease the pressure? Did you speak to yourself with cruelty, or did you learn how to show yourself grace? Those moments mattered more than you know. Private choices shape public strength. I watched how you handled frustration. Pressure reveals what lies beneath the surface. When things felt unfair, when effort did not bring results, when clarity refused to arrive, I watched whether you allowed bitterness to settle in, or whether you stayed open, even when you were tired. You did not always feel patient, but you chose not to give up on yourself or on me. That choice was not loud, but it was powerful. I watched your reactions under pressure, not to judge you, but to see how deeply you trusted. Trust does not mean you never question. It means you do not let questions turn into accusations. You questioned honestly, you wrestled, you asked why, but you did not close your heart. You did not decide that silence meant absence. You stayed in relationship even when understanding lagged behind. That is trust grown through experience, not assumption. I watched how you handled temptation, not only the obvious kind, but the subtle kind. The temptation to numb yourself, the temptation to distract yourself endlessly, the temptation to become cynical and stop caring, the temptation to believe that nothing matters because hope feels risky. You felt those pulls. You did not deny them, but you did not let them define you. You resisted becoming someone you would not recognize later. That restraint mattered. I watched how you spoke when you were tired. Tired words often reveal true beliefs. Did you speak despair over yourself, or did you pause before letting discouragement take control? You were not always positive. I was not looking for that. I was watching whether you remained honest without becoming hopeless. You learned how to name pain without letting it become identity. That is maturity. I watched your willingness to trust without answers. This was one of the most important things I was watching for. Could you continue walking without knowing exactly where the path was leading? Could you accept uncertainty without panic? Could you live without needing constant reassurance that you were doing it right? You did not always feel confident, but you kept moving gently forward instead of freezing. That willingness told me you were ready for more clarity later. I watched how you treated others while you were hurting. Pain often narrows perspective. It makes people self-protective, impatient, harsh. You felt pain deeply, but you did not lose compassion. You still noticed others, you still cared, you still chose kindness even when you felt empty. That was not weakness. That was strength refined by humility. I watched whether you tried to control outcomes or learned to release them. Control can look like effort, but it often hides fear. You slowly learned that not everything could be managed by force. You learned how to let go without giving up. That shift was subtle, but it was essential. It showed me that you were learning to trust timing instead of fighting it. You thought you were being punished because things felt hard. But punishment focuses on failure. What you experienced focused on formation. I was not asking whether you deserved something. I was watching whether you were becoming someone who could carry it without losing yourself. Readiness is not about talent. It is about stability. I watched how you handled your own expectations. Expectations can motivate, but they can also crush when they are unmet. You learned how to loosen your grip on timelines you once held tightly. You learned how to live without guarantees. That flexibility was not surrender to defeat. It was surrender to trust. I watched how you returned after moments of doubt. Doubt did not disqualify you. What mattered was that you returned. You did not stay away. You did not close yourself off permanently. You came back, sometimes quietly, sometimes slowly, but you came back. That return mattered more than the doubt itself. I watched your humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is being honest about where you are without pretending. You admitted when you were tired. You admitted when you were confused. You admitted when you needed help. That honesty created space for growth. Pride would have blocked it. You chose openness instead. I watched whether you stayed teachable. Struggle can make people defensive. It can make them rigid. You allowed struggle to soften you instead. You listened. You reflected. You changed where change was needed. You did not cling to being right. You clung to being real. That is the posture that allows wisdom to take root. You believed the struggle meant you were failing. But what I was watching told a different story. I saw someone learning how to stand without applause. Someone learning how to trust without proof. Someone learning how to remain present without certainty. These are the qualities that determine readiness for what comes next. I was not watching for how quickly you escaped the struggle. I was watching how deeply you were being shaped within it. I was not counting your mistakes. I was observing your growth. I was not measuring your output. I was measuring your resilience. You were not being evaluated for punishment. You were being evaluated for responsibility. Responsibility requires steadiness. It requires humility. It requires trust that does not collapse under pressure. You showed those qualities quietly, consistently, imperfectly, but genuinely. I want you to release the shame you attach to your struggle. Shame says you should have been better. Meaning says you were becoming ready. You were not being tested to see if I would reject you. You were being tested to see if you could handle deeper trust without losing your peace. Everything you thought disqualified you was actually qualifying you. The questions, the waiting, the quiet endurance, the honest wrestling. These were not marks against you. They were evidence of readiness. And now you know what I was watching for. Not perfection, not performance, presence, honesty, trust, humility. And you showed all of them, even when you did not realize it. You were never being punished. You were being prepared. And the fact that you are here now, listening, open, grounded, tells you the truth. You passed not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful in the ways that truly matter. I am speaking before tomorrow because timing matters more than you realize. What is coming next is not something you can step into blindly and then understand later. Understanding must come first. Alignment must settle inside you before movement begins outside of you. If you move forward without clarity, you will misread what I am doing. You will mistake invitation for pressure. You will confuse growth with burden. I am speaking now because I love you too much to let you enter a new season carrying old misunderstandings. Say my soul belongs to you. God, if you hunger for His presence and share this video,